Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Paul Hutchings coming to you with another episode of The Good Parts, a daily social media show where I go live once a day, Monday through Friday, to share one good part from my life and or business in an effort to help you and me create more freedom, be able to disconnect our time from our money, enjoy life and business in the best way, have success, and do it all in ways that bring joy and goodness and, positive meaning. The goal is kind of to do everything I can to spread the goodness in the world, in my own life and into your life as well. And today I'm pretty excited. This probably won't be a super long live, but yesterday I stumbled across an old journal entry of mine from when I had first gotten started on the road to being a free man. And this was back when I was living in a single wide mobile home. I had actually quit my job because I wanted to go full time in the home business profession. I'd started a home business about 4 years prior. And this journal entry comes after 4 years of being on the path of striving to have enough success that I had enough income that I could live on that income and support my family. So this is 4 years in, and I want to share this with you. And I put in the title that it has one great truth. I'm going to share from this journal entry 2 great truths that I believe can make the hard times make a little more sense, make them a little easier to bear, and hopefully help you and me continue to push through to get to the pot of gold on the other side. Thank you, Bill Rizlaw, for saying hello. Good morning to you. Booker, the Freedom Cooker. What's up, my brother? Good to see you. Thanks for saying hello. Appreciate you being here. And if you're catching this later on, please comment below. Let me know who you are, where you're plugging in from. You can do a hashtag live. If you're watching live, you can also do a hashtag replay if you're catching the replay. So I'm just going to jump right into this. I'm going to share this journal entry with you guys. And I think there are these 2 lessons here that I mentioned. So I'm just going to highlight this and read it. So this was from November 14th of 2009. And I'll see if I can make this a little bigger. Let's see. Can I make it bigger? I might not be able to make it bigger. Sorry, guys. I'll just read it the way that it is. So November 14th, 2009. Wow. I've been under a lot of stress lately. And then I blotted out these were some tenants that we had in our first rental property. I blotted out their names. They're 2 months behind on their rent and have very little income. We spent $2,000 more than we made in October. We are having another baby in a few weeks. So this would have been my 3rd son. At this point, we had 2 little kids, had my wife, me living in this trailer, jobless, stepping out on the entrepreneurial path, building my business from home. We'd gotten a loan to buy this rental property. It was like $90,000 or $95,000. And we were cash flowing $100 a month on this rental property. And as you see from the journal entry, we spent $2,000 more than we made the month previous to this. So we're having another baby in a few weeks. The pressure is really on. I want so badly to be able to provide for my family. I'm very tempted to find a job so we don't eat into our savings. I've got so many areas to improve in. It just all seems so overwhelming. I'm reminded of how difficult it must have been for my mom to raise Shanna, that's my younger sister, and I, with a low-paying job as a single mother. I'm now able to empathize with her better than ever before. Life is hard. I guess I just have to have faith that old Jim was telling the truth when he said, all good things are located upstream from us. So I want to pop back to the live stream here and highlight just a couple of things that popped out to me from this journal entry. The first one is it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be hard. I was on a mastermind right before I went live, and there was a comment from one of our community members who said, I find it's very difficult to make videos. I mumble over my words. I'm having a hard time with it. And my business partner, Mike, was hosting. And so I was just listening in the background. But what I said out loud to myself when I heard this comment was, welcome to the club. It's supposed to be hard. And that line that I highlighted in that journal entry from old Jim, I was referring to Jim Rohn. I'd been listening to audios from him and reading books from him. And that phrase that I jotted down in the journal is a great phrase. All good things are located upstream from us. If you can imagine a river, rivers flowing one direction, and you jump in to take a swim, that's like jumping in the entrepreneurial world, jumping in a home business, jumping in whatever it is you're going to do to build your dream, to build your freedom. You jump in, and now the question is, where do I swim? Where do I swim? And obviously the natural inclination is to swim with the current, because it's easier. You can just kind of float and let the current take you where it will. But what Jim taught me in that phrase, all good things are located upstream from us, what that said to me was, don't flow with the current. I got to turn around and I got to swim against the current. And guess what? If it gets hard sometimes, that's normal. It's supposed to be hard because I'm swimming against the current. If I feel like, quitting sometimes, that's normal. It's supposed to be hard. I'm going against the current. If you want to have what other people have, you have to be willing to do what other people are not willing to do. That's swimming against the current. So for some reason, when I read that journal entry from so long ago, and I saw that even though times were hard, even though my future was uncertain, even though I had a new baby on the way, even though I was in a trailer, even though I was spending more money than I was making, that little line, all good things are located upstream from us, helped me to deal with those hard times and say, you know what? It's supposed to be this way. It's supposed to be difficult. That helped me to stand up and deal with it and keep plowing forward. Now, thankfully, if you know the later on part of my story, those first few years of struggle, those first few years of looking hard at myself, and that's another thing that I pick up from that journal entry. As I wrote in that journal entry, I have so many areas to improve upon. It all seems so overwhelming. Even though it felt overwhelming, at least I was conscious of the fact that in order for things to get better, I had to get better. I had to look at myself and ask myself, where do I need to improve? And that's part of the path of swimming upstream, is dealing with the things that are in yourself, the negative thoughts that you have, the doubts that you have, the fear of people's judgment that you have, the communication that might need to improve, the marketing that might need to improve, your work ethic that might need to improve. That's all part of swimming upstream. And the sooner we can come to terms, I think, with the fact that great things are not going to be easy. They're going to be upstream. The sooner we can deal with that, the faster we can get out of the woe is me, this is hard, and we can just deal with it and say, this is normal. The fact that things are hard, the fact that it feels like I'm swimming upstream means that I'm on the right path, that I'm swimming against the current, that I'm taking the road less traveled, as the great poem states. So that's the first great truth. All things are located upstream from us. And as I continued to keep swimming upstream, facing life squarely, thankfully, over the next few years, everything changed for me. I went from negative $2,000 a month to positive $2,000 and $3,000 and $5,000 and $10,000, on and on, until finally I got to a place where in my early 40s, thank you, I'm completely financially free. But it was a few years of struggle. It was a few years of writing in my journal, life is hard. That's what I wrote. Life is hard. So I wanted to share that. That's, I think, one of the first great truths that a lot of people don't talk about. We have a tendency in business, especially if we're in a business where we want to inspire others to see the dream and how great it is to step on this path. We want to help them to believe that they can do it. And sometimes out of that temptation, we have a tendency to make things appear that they're easier than they really are. And maybe that's okay to some degree. There's a line we all have to walk and kind of figure out where to balance, because we do want people to get started, because we think, and I believe that the path is worth it. So it's worth it to get started. It's worth it to believe that better things are waiting for you in your future on the other side of that line that we all must cross to step out in faith and do something that maybe we don't know that we can do in the beginning. And the great thing about that is we can build faith over time, and we can build skill over time. So anyway, I'm rambling a little bit, but that was the first great truth I wanted to highlight. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be hard. So if you're dealing with a hard time right now, congratulations. Welcome to the club. Maybe you're on the right path. And the second great truth, this is a bonus truth because I like to go the extra mile as much as I can. That's one of the laws of success. That I noticed as I read this journal entry, is in the midst of one of the hardest moments of my life. When I made this journal entry, I made this journal entry, and yes, I highlighted the hard things. I highlighted the facts of reality that were difficult for me to deal with at that moment in time. But you also see another thing that I wrote in that journal entry, which was I wrote that I'm now able to empathize with my mom. I'm reminded of how difficult it must have been for my mom to raise my sister and I with a low paying job as a single mother. Because my mom, from when I was 8 years old on, my dad left when I was 8. My mom has a hearing disability. She didn't have a job when my dad left. My dad left with, debt on the house we were living in, which was a double wide mobile home, debt on a car that he took off with, debt. My dad left. He had his own demons he was dealing with. And so there was my mom, left with raising my sister and I, no job, no vocational training, no college degree, wondering what to do with this situation that she was in. And thankfully, my mom is a fighter, and she found a way. She went and got some training, got a job, and was able to raise my sister and I. And so when I was in this hard time and I was looking at all the facts of reality that were difficult to deal with, and woe is me a little bit, because man, it's hard to swim upstream and I don't know if I can make it, but I believe if I keep going, I can. I noticed a good part in that story, and I noticed the good in the difficult situation. So many times, if you tune into what I do, any of the content that I create, these daily Good Parts episodes, or the Grow Rich Mastermind that I started way back when, or maybe even the company that I helped to co-found 6 years ago, I find that one of the most oft repeated phrases that comes from my mouth that I believe is one of the great truths about life comes from Napoleon Hill, where he said, "In every apparent setback lies the seed of an equal or greater advantage." So even when I was just getting started and it was really, really hard, I see this journal entry where I found a good part in all of the hard parts, in all of the not seemingly the best parts. And the good part was I can empathize now more with my mom. I can empathize now more with people that are struggling. And that's a great gift, to be able to see that and to be able to see what's going on. And that's another thing I think that can help us get through the hard times, is to have a faith that it's all doing something for us. There's something that we're going to get from getting through this hard time, and to be able to notice the good parts even in those times that are hard. This philosophy tends to make hard times easier to deal with. And I don't think that it's just a philosophical thing. I personally believe that in every apparent setback is the seed of something better. And if we can look for those seeds and treasure them up, they can give us fuel to keep going. So that's what I wanted to share today. Hope you found some value in it. I appreciate all the comments. I'm going to get to those here. But I do want to give you a call to action if by chance you are finding me for the first time. And thank you to all of you who are here live and on the replay, who are commenting below, because that helps me to get shown to more people. And the hope is that other people can get tuned in to the message of freedom, can get tuned in to the message of personal growth, to get tuned in to the message of developing a strong personal philosophy. Great lesson I learned from Jim Rohn early on. He said, your philosophy is the major determining factor in how your life works out, your philosophy. And so that's partly what I want to do in these good parts, is share the good parts of my philosophy that have helped me to be free, and also help me to get not into a state of perfection, because I don't know if anyone is ever going to get to that place where you're just like, I got it all figured out. I'm the man, I'm the woman, no more lessons to learn. No, we're never going to get to that spot. But the philosophy that my mentors have taught me and that I've adopted has led me to a very free and prosperous and financially independent state and place in my life. And there's a deep desire in my heart to help as many people as I can move in that direction, disconnect their time from their money, become more independent thinkers, dare to have a dream, dare to have a vision, dare to step out in faith, and to not just complain about what's going on in the world, but rather to hold that mirror back on ourselves and say, if there's something happening that I don't like, whether it's in my personal, family situation, financial situation, relationship situation, even on a societal level, if there's stuff out there happening that you don't like, the best path, I think, is to ask yourself, how can I be the change I wish to see in the world? And I think the more people we can inspire to do that, the more productive we can all be, the more successful we can all be, and the bigger the difference we can all make in this world that we're living in. So that's part of my vision here. And so, all of that being said, I do believe in what I'm doing, and I want my message to get out to as many people as I can. So if you're commenting below, I appreciate you. Thank you. And if you're finding me for the first time, and what I've shared today resonates with you, and you want to tune into more of what I do, I would love to invite you to subscribe to me on whatever social media platform you're finding this on. So more of my episodes will show up in your newsfeed, more of the good stuff, less of the bad stuff, if we can make that happen. And then also the best way to make sure that you get all of my future content is to visit my website, which is paulhutchings.net/GIFTS. Pick up a free gift. There's a few of them on there. It's like a Cracker Jack box of digital goodness. When you were a kid, you had that Cracker Jack box and you stuck your hand down in because you knew there was a prize at the bottom. You didn't quite know what the prize was, but you knew there was a prize and you were excited to see what that prize was. That's how I look at this website that's on the screen. I've got some prizes on there that you can look at, pick the one you want. And in the process of doing that, you'll be subscribing to my email newsletter where I will do my best to serve you, lift you, educate you, entertain you sometimes. I mean, I'm not a comedian, but hey, I do my best every once in a while to make you laugh, make you smile, maybe even make you cry every once in a while, because it's good to let life touch you, as Jim Rohn said. So that's a little bit of what you'll get on my website there. If you are in a space where you're wanting to build a residual income from home, and do it in a way where you can get paid more for the efforts you put in, and also do it in a way where you love what you do, you feel good about what you do, you're adding great value to the world. There's a button on that page that says Grow Residual Income Online, and that's the button that you want to call your attention to if you decide to visit this page here on the screen. So with that, I'm going to jump to the comments and learn from you guys. How have you gotten through hard times, guys? Are you going through hard times right now? Have you gone through hard times in the past? I'd love to hear your strategies for dealing with difficult moments. If there's any tips you can share, comment below. Good to see you, Bill Fever. I see you growing and getting better and better in all of your posts. I'm so inspired by you and your growth. Veronique says, hi. Hi, Veronique. Good to see you. Bill Fever says, life is hard, but I always want to look for the joy in my life. The people around me are more important than the things in my life. I love that perspective, Bill. And yeah, life can be hard. And even though I wrote Life is Hard way back then, I did also want to highlight that it got easier for me financially anyway. So even though it was really hard financially at that moment when I made that journal entry, it got easier. So even though life can be hard sometimes in certain areas, I do believe that we have the power as individuals to make those situations easier. Will all of the problems ever completely disappear? So far, no. There's always challenges that pop up. But like Bill said, the way that we choose to view those challenges can make a huge difference in how we navigate those challenges. Can we navigate them in a peaceful, happy, relatively joyous state? I think we can. And through the actions that we take, can we transform those hard times into easier times, better times, more prosperous times? I think we can. So thanks for that comment, Bill. Peter says, good morning. Hey, good morning, Peter. BAIE. Boy, am I excited. That's what BAI means. I love that hashtag. Bill Fever says, the swim upstream, Paul, created the muscle in your life that you share with us. I love you, kid. I love you too. And it did, it did. Mental muscle. You swim upstream, you get strong. And the stronger you get through the streams, the upstreams that you're swimming in at the time, makes all of those future upstreams a little bit easier to deal with. So true. Mental muscle. Booker says, I like the hard alone with the easy. One thing that helped me, if looking back over things that I have overcome, keep pushing. Thank you so much, Booker. I like the hard alone with the easy. I'm not sure I completely understand that statement. So maybe if you could elaborate a little bit. It's one of the challenges of text-based comments. I like the hard alone with the easy. Your Mind says, I am a master trainer in NLP and hypnosis. Just started watching your videos 5 days ago. We should talk about SOM, or overcome objections, trained, sold for Tony Robbins. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your experience. I appreciate you tuning into the videos. And yeah, I'm totally down for things we can do to help people I am definitely a student of NLP, although not a master. I actually do have a certification in NLP, believe it or not. My business partner, Mike, and I did a week-long training down in Salt Lake with some really great NLP trainers and practitioners. And so, yeah, I do like that field. It's fascinating to me, and would always love to, learn more. So thank you. Thank you. I did the training for Tony for MLMs. Wow, that's incredible. Holy cow. What's your name? Yeah, reach out. I'd love to connect. Veronique says, we had the deepest valley, but we survived. The unwavering love and power, faith, hope, and positive mind has made us win this, and we are stronger than before. I love that so much, Veronique. And here's another thing to think about when it comes to dealing with hard times. If you think about any story of someone that you've heard, like, okay, someone's going live and they're telling a story. What are the most inspiring parts of those stories usually? Are they the stories where the person comes out and was like, when I was born, my parents were multimillionaires and they gave me all kinds of cash growing up. And I started off with all this working capital and they sent me to the best schools and I learned all the best business strategies. And when I started my first business, I made $1 million my first year. And then from then we just continued to grow and it was amazing. Like, is that an inspiring story? Like, no. The stories where the people who were at the lowest of lows and were facing some of life's darkest abysses, but somehow found an inner fire to rise up and conquer, get out of the hole, slay the dragons, fight the biggest challenges, and then they get to the top of the mountain. I mean, those are the stories that move the heart, mind, and soul. And so when I look back over my story in this journal entry, yeah, I had some hard times or whatever, but man, boy, do I have a story, started in a single wide trailer house, jobless, after I quit my job, which was in a call center making $11 an hour, financial pressure bearing down, kids, needing dad to provide for them. One of my sons had a $50,000 surgery down at Primary Children's Hospital right after my insurance had expired. 4 years of failure in network marketing, but going at it full time. I went at it full time. My income went down. Like, man, that's a hard time that when you hear about and then hear the success that came after that, it's like, wow, maybe I can do that too. Maybe the hard times that I'm dealing with right now can catapult me onto something even greater. So that's another great meaning to attach to hard times, is it does seem that the harder the time, the greater the triumph and value in the message that you're able to share. So you're building not just yourself getting through these moments, but you're also building the power and the strength and the depth and the reaching penetration power of your message whenever you get to a point where you're speaking to people. So that's another big benefit in hard times that, Veronique, you helped me to think of there. Booker says, it's worth every second, Paul. Hard times don't last forever. Thank goodness for that. The rain always stops. The sun always comes up. Yeah, hard times always get better, So that's another great truth about life. Says taking the good with the bad. Yeah, taking the good with the bad. So anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate all the feedback. I love you guys. I believe you've got greatness within you. I appreciate you so much for tuning in and leaving me your comments and helping me grow and helping the rest of this really amazing, positive, heart-centered, light-filled audience grow, because that's what happens when we communicate with each other and we listen to each other. We learn from each other and we all get better together. So that's it. I will catch you tomorrow on the next episode of The Good Parts. Take care and bye for now.